That was a good question. Very interesting. Okay. So next we go to Sylvia in Royal Oak, and Sylvia says, I am selling my home. I did some work on the house by remodeling the bathroom and kitchen. Did I have to do I have to disclose to the buyer that I did not pull permits when I did the remodeling? I guess my first question to Sylvia would be, did you do work that required permits?
Bingo. Where'd you go to law school? That's good. That's a good real estate investment question, isn't it?
Sure. Yep.
Yeah. Excellent question. You just answered it. You don't have to disclose it if the job and the work did not require a permit. So you better find out. You can make it real. What I tell clients, and I'm not, this is all for educational purposes, but if you remodel a kitchen or a bathroom, if you don't move any of the plugs and you don't move the plumbing, you don't need a permit.
Okay, so if she dropped on a new countertop and put in new tile, yeah, then she did not need a permit. Okay. Yeah. So I guess, Sylvia, that depends on what you did, but just for the fun of it, let's say she did work where she would have had to pull permits. Does she then have to disclose to the potential buyer that she did not pull permits?
Yes.
Okay.
Seller disclosure issues can be very tricky. And my advice, again, this is for educational purposes only, but my advice always is, when in doubt, disclose. Okay. And you as the seller cannot rely on your realtor, if you're dealing with a real estate agent, to tell you or guide you. If a real estate agent is, first of all, if a real estate agent fills out your form for you, you need to fire that real estate agent real quickly. Okay. It's unethical. You as a seller need to fill it out with nothing but good intent and good faith knowledge. You're not required to go out and learn everything about plumbing before you disclose a plumbing issue. Okay. It's what you know about your home. What are the defects that you're aware of? And if you're not sure, if you have to ask, usually if you have to ask, you need to disclose. I get these calls quite often. Usually they're from realtors, saying, hey, what do we do here? We have a lot of lawsuits that we deal with. It's called seller non-disclosure lawsuits. And it's unfortunate. Most deal with basement water issues, but roofs. And very recently, which we find so interesting, I have 2 cases with termites in Michigan. Okay. Major termite damage. So when in doubt, disclose. There is an area on the seller disclosure. If you've never read it before, if you're a real estate investor, you should know what they look like, and you should kind of get a good sense and be comfortable with it. But there's an area there that says, have you done any not remodeling? Have you done any work that requires a permit? Or are you aware of any structural issues related to the property? Okay, or structural defects. So one more thing, as a real estate investor, you never have to, if you've never lived in the property, you never have to disclose the condition of the property. But the minute you fill it out, I have somebody who did this, a real estate investor, he filled it out and he didn't disclose something, you are not liable, or can be liable, because you didn't disclose in good faith. The best way, a real estate investor, what they should be doing is, if you've never lived in the home, okay, you can cross it out and write the word exempt on the good faith estimate, on the seller disclosure, you write exempt. You still have to put in the date from which you owned it, the day that you acquired the property, and you can sign it. And you write, seller never lived in home. Exempt, seller never lived in home. Okay. Okay?